welcome to AlphaCars Service Center. Today we have this 2015 Mercedes G550 up on the lift, and we've already got it prepped for a fluid film application. And let's take a peek underneath in sort of our office we have. So we've got our lift arms protected here. We've got a little sort of pull jack on the axle. These vehicles can be a little unstable at times to lift them, so we just like to be extra cautious there. And of course, doing all the preparation, taping off the vehicle exterior, and just it also saves the fluid film application from kind of moving around the shop in the air. It's really gonna end up being a nice professional job. And just checking out the pre-existing conditions, this G-Class is actually in very nice shape, especially the frame. It looks like at some point it may have had some sort of rust preventative treatment, especially inside the frame, this sort of wax that seems to be kind of seeping out. But there are some areas where some surface rust is starting. We see up here on these mounts on the axles over here, the steering bar, and now looking back, the springs and the spring perches are getting a little rusty. So we worked with the customer on figuring out the most cost-effective solution to prolong this from getting worse, whereas it is already in nice shape. And the customer, their preference was to not go the full, scraping everything, refinishing everything, and using maybe a different product. So even the brake backing plates here, you can see just some light surface rust starting. These are still like 100% solid, which these are usually the first thing to go all the way through on the G-Classes once they develop some rust in the underbody. And the rear springs are known to break on these as well once they get rusty enough, but these just kind of some light surface rust. A little bit of the paint is cracking here and there, but we're not too concerned. Customer wasn't too concerned. We're just gonna do a nice application of fluid film, which will soak into all this pre-existing areas. We're also doing the fluid film in the enclosed areas, so all the enclosed areas of the frame, even the body panels of the vehicle, any accessible area where we can inject fluid film and slow down and prevent rust even on the outside of the vehicle, on the cosmetic body panels. We're gonna do that as well, and you're gonna be seeing some of that in this video. Now the technician has done about half of the underbody. We can see our sophisticated air sprayer here. And we actually have a couple different tips we use. This sort of flexible rubber one, and then it has a thin end on it that sprays it in like a 360-degree spray pattern out the sides and forward. And then this is the normal kind of spray wand for the exterior thing. So this will help us get deep into the enclosed areas. But we can see we've done it nice and thick with the clear fluid film. Once this kind of cures and starts to soak into the surface, it will be more clear, but we can see how it looks compared to no coating on the vehicle. And this is really the best option to prevent rust, on your vehicle, no matter what vehicle it is, as this will soak in and really prevent moisture now from getting to the existing rust, and from new rust, also preventing new rust starting, and it will substantially slow the rust that has already started as well. Now the application is done. First, let's take a quick look at the underbody. You can see how nice that looks. We'll take a quick walk throughout. And we can see now that the fluid film has had time to really soak in. It has that kind of nice deep black look. It kind of just enhanced the surface underneath. And of course you can see areas like this where it's a little more thick. We just like putting it on thick, doing a thorough job, so then there's always some excess to continually soak into the surface, as well as doing it a bit thicker as well. It won't wash off over time as quickly, so the application, you're kind of getting more for your money, so to speak. It's gonna last longer when you're using the vehicle on the road. So everything looks really nice under here. Of course, going even as far as this kind of rear skid plate area, the tow bar, really anywhere we have access to, we will apply it. but even all the unibody structure, the pinch welds, the mounts for the running boards, everything now has a nice application of fluid film. Now I'm going to lower the vehicle and we'll take a look at where we actually applied it a bit on the exterior and some other enclosed areas. And now with the G-Class lowered down, let's take a look at where we applied the fluid film on some of the exterior surfaces and of course the enclosed areas. So when this vehicle came in with the rust concerns, we did a full evaluation on it and we found a little bit of rust starting in most of the common areas on the G-Class, and that's what we'll take a look at in this segment. So we're actually going to start by opening the hood because we had found that there is some rust starting around the latch mechanism here. So we applied it there in a few areas. We had found just a few concerns in the underside of the hood and we didn't want it to get worse. So just a little bit of application there goes a long way. But now let's start at the windshield seal. So this vehicle had actually had the windshield frame repainted before. So this had already had the rust in the past where it bubbles, it works its way out of the windshield frame. It starts in there, works its way out, and you see all the bubbling. It can even cause the windshield to leak. We've pulled many of the windshields out of these and had to do welding, grinding, all sorts of things, some fabrication to repair the sheet metal where the windshield mounts because the rust gets that bad. So like I said, we noticed the vehicle had previous body work done somewhere else, we're not sure where. This vehicle is actually from Ohio, so the customer brought it all the way here for us to work on it because we specialize in these vehicles. And we had noticed some light corrosion already starting underneath the seal. So what we did, you can actually see if I get the light here, you can see how it's kind of wet under the seal. We have a special little trim tool we use and we pull back the seal, and as we slip it around the seal, we inject fluid film, and then now the full seam around the whole windshield is protected from that corrosion getting worse or new corrosion starting. So even if you have the frame redone on your G-Class, still make sure to have a preventative measure done like fluid film or something along those lines to be injected around that seam, because that will prevent when moisture does get in there from eating at the surface, and then you're back to square one even though you just had the body work done. Another area we noted on the G-Class was the doors. So in the door seams, there was some rust starting. Let me open this door. This door had some of the worst. It still wasn't too bad. We've seen G-Classes with structural damage really done to the doors before, but this isn't too bad. So we can see where the light is shining, there is fluid film applied in that sort of seam where the sheet metal, the outer door skin and the frame are met together. And we've applied it all around the hinges, the hinge mounting surfaces. But this area you're looking at right now where that yellow is, there's a lot of sort of bubbling rust under there. So another fluid film will have the opportunity to slow that down, prevent it from getting considerably worse. And you can even see in some of the weep holes, if I can get the camera to focus here for you. There we go. In these weep holes, which are meant for water to drain out of the doors when a little bit of water gets in there from rain and from using the window, we inject the fluid film all inside the door skin to fog the inside of the door. So we can see there a thorough job was done because it is slowly dripping out of the door, which is normal as a little bit of excess runs out. So we know it has been sort of fully applied in there. And all four doors got this same treatment. All the inside have had the fluid film applied, and in all of the seams, all the normal spots where the rust will start. We've also applied it inside all of the hinges. So on this hinge, we can see a little bit of corrosion in the hinge. This one, some paint has started to flake off. So we injected it in the hinge and exercised the doors many times to kind of work it around the hinge, and then we wiped the excess, of course. So that will go a very long way. Now on the cargo door, let me see if I can get an angle where you can see, we pulled back the gasket up here because there was corrosion starting up here, and we've injected fluid film under there. And you might see a little bit of wetness around the gasket, so that's a good sign. And even there's a plug here into the sort of unibody back here. We pulled that, injected plenty of fluid film in there. You know, anywhere we can get fluid film into on these vehicles, we like to do so. Now, let's take a look at, I guess, just this door. Like I said, all 4 doors got the same treatment. All 4 door hinges got the same treatment. And you can even see how clean the application was. There's no, you know, fluid film sprayed all over places it really doesn't need to be. No messes were made. This will just kind of stay tacky and stay right where it is, where it's been applied. So that all looks really nice. And we've applied fluid film all behind these rocker panel moldings here. Of course, these are back on the vehicle. We can't see beneath them just right this second, but we can see there is some wetness behind there. Only on one side of this vehicle, there was some rust starting behind those trim moldings, but we applied the fluid film to both sides. And we can see actually how this has kind of warped and pulled away from the vehicle. That is very common on those trim pieces. They internally will start to corrode and rust, and it actually warps them kind of interestingly. So we see that on really all the G-classes that come in with the rust concerns. So just keep that in mind as well. Definitely, if your G-class got rust concerns, take these moldings off and take a look under them. We've had vehicles where we've had to structurally repair the rocker panel where there's been full holes through the rockers. So definitely keep that in mind as well. But this one, luckily, only on one side. There was some light development that we now have substantially slowed down with the fluid film. And I believe the last thing to show you is just on the mounting hinges and mounting plates for the front brush bar here. Especially on this hinge, there was some paint flaking and rust starting. So once again, we wanted to slow that down, get some fluid film on there. And this is what the customer wanted to do. We could have refinished everything like you've seen us do in other G classes where we fully grind down, remove the rust, treat it, repaint it in the factory color, you know, even get some body shop work involved for panels that need that. Really go the whole 9 yards. Or this customer wanted to stay, you know, within a certain scope of work, within a certain budget and expectation, and that's what we worked with them on. We instead did the full fluid film treatment and applied the fluid film in the doors, even on the external surfaces like the door jambs where it's starting, the windshield seal, just to slow down the rust, whereas it is in the early stages. And now that is really the most cost-effective solution for the vehicle. So taking a look just in the wheel wells quick as a last sort of step. The frame is in really good shape on this G-Class, especially the rear shock mounts. That's a common rust area where if that gets bad enough, those can actually break off. And now we can see the coil spring, the frame rail there, the front frame structure. Everything just has a nice thick coating. There's no skipped areas or corners cut here. But of course, it's a precise application still. You can see the steering box there. But the exhaust is perfectly clean. And of course, we've taped off the required items. So if you've got a G-Class, even if you're not local, we handle the shipping, the transportation for you if you'd like. So give us a call, 978-263-9000, or send us an email at service@alphacars.com. If you want your G-Class evaluated and protected, definitely reach out to us because we do know these vehicles inside and out, and that's really evident, I'm sure, in these videos, all these little areas I'm showing you. So even if you're not gonna come to our shop, I hope this video was still helpful in identifying areas on your G-Class, and in regarding to this fluid film treatment, then you've learned just a few things you can do to help slow down that rust development. So this has been Ian reporting from our Boxborough Service Center. Please leave a like on this video and subscribe so then you don't miss out on the latest G-Class content.